Yeah, and it's interesting that they're fighting back with these studies of skinny people that they feed corn to, and calling that good research. It's not.
It's a lie.
They should be having research with people that have abdominal obesity and those kind of issues. And it's interesting that in Kentucky, about 10 years ago, the only bread you could get without corn was Pepperidge Jewish rye, or out of a place where they baked it, like a bakery, But you couldn't get it without corn. So I would buy. I think it was Jewish rye was about the only one I could find.
Yeah, because they had to be kosher, and of course the rabbis knew that this stuff was bad, so they wouldn't allow their people to eat it. And they'd say, well, if you want kosher bread, you're not going to have corn syrup in it.
That's right.
Isn't that amazing?
I don't know how they knew that, but they knew it.
Yeah, they're pretty smart. I mean, that's why if you look at their diet, that's why it's in the Bible. Right. We had a flare-up years ago of a thing called domoic acid, which causes dementia. When there's a red tide of dinoflagellates, the filter feeder mollusks and so on, like, clams, suck up these domoic acid from these red tide dinoflagellates, and it causes dementia. It permanently damages the neural pathways of acetylcholine. Well, it's right there in the Bible. The same thing is you have to understand there's things there. That's why the Sabbath rest of the land was put the minerals back in the soil, so the vitamins and minerals were in the people. And if those nutrients aren't there, you're going to get sickness, and it's going to have a very, very, that's why you start losing wars. You start getting, now we have the cell phone damage on top of all the toxic pollution, and they want to import food. They've irradiated. They want a Codex Alimentaris with genetically modified and Franken foods that are chimeric monstrosities with human and animal and slime mold genes and God knows what they want to put in them. These are an abomination, and if the people running our public health were servants of the Most High God first, and physicians like the ancient doctors in Israel, which were the sons of Aaron, then they first had to serve God before they took care of his children. They wouldn't have this crisis, would they?
I'd agree.
That's
it's interesting you mentioned dementia. They just had a recent study out on dementia showing that most Alzheimer's and type situation occurs because you're not getting enough nutrition to the brain.
Right.
It's not because, everybody thought for a while it was because the beta amyloid was getting laid down, but the beta amyloid doesn't get laid down until the brain isn't getting enough nutrition. And so I've played that role with people, and I've started really upping their nutrition who come in with dementia, and it reverses it pretty fast if they haven't gone too many years,
Yeah, the fact is that most of their cells are not dead, they're just idling.
Right.
It's like the chains off the sprocket on the bicycle of their mind. You just need to get the chain back on, get those cells working again, and all of a sudden they say, gee, where have I been? They wake up like out of a dream, out of a fog or a fugue.
But if you wait too long, you have irreversible damage.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's a couple of things out there that does help, and I think Bruce Ames, I don't know if you've heard about him, but he does research down in Southern California, has his own research facility, he basically about 5 years ago showed that you could use a couple of ingredients to do the same thing that you would normally have to go out and pay big money for these chemicals out of the drugstore, and they would give you immediate enhancement of memory. And those two things was acetyl L-carnitine, which was not L-carnitine, which transfers fats in the mitochondria, but acetyl L-carnitine and alpha lipoic acid. And those two things he proved would actually reverse some of your dementia. And so that was the first sign that it was being caused, that dementia was being caused by nutritional problems or basically deficiencies.
Yeah, we have a long-acting form of alpha lipoic acid used as a medical drug in the UK and Europe called Nutritrala. And we also have some products, one developed by Dave Littell, who's on earlier this show today, called Cognition Ignition. You're absolutely right. Most of these people just have nutritional imbalances that are causing neurotransmitter problems, mood disorders, or dysmyelination, where they lose their myelin sheath and they get dementia. But it all comes back. These things are increased in Syndrome X, so that when you start to repair the vitamin B1 with the activated form, the B6 at adequate levels, which they're not going to find if they just go to a regular vitamin store. They're just not going to find it in adequate dosages.
Not inadequate, no.
No, absolutely. We need to get you back on next week or so to Dr. Martin. Amazing topic. This is a very, very important breakthrough. You should get the Nobel Prize in Medicine because this is the seat of most degenerative diseases is Syndrome X. Amazing breakthrough. Well, stay tuned. Absolutely amazing, Dr. Nick Martin. And we will have that product available very soon, but you need to be trained because it's powerful. and under some supervision. We're going to be joined in hour 3 by Robert Felix. His book, released last year, Not by Fire but by Ice, The Coming Ice Age, and his latest book, Magnetic Reversal and Evolutionary Leaps. You don't want to miss this show. We'll be back in a moment. Amazing stimulation for your mind, but take your nutrients so they'll stick. And you'll remember, entertainment, raising lots of new questions. We'll be back in just a moment.